Have you ever stopped to think that maybe cats know something we don't? It's not just that enigmatic gaze that pierces through you as if it could read your soul. It's something deeper, almost as if they carry a cosmic secret in their silent paws. Imagine with me for a second. What if the soul of a cat were more than just an animal instinct? What if it were a bridge between what science explains and what it still fears to touch? Today, I want to take you on a journey that blends spirituality, occult science, and a touch of esoteric mystery. Let's talk about the cat soul, and look, I promise that by the end, you'll look at your pet in a totally different way. So sit down, relax, and come with me. Let's explore what is hidden in the shadows of these beings who purr, but sometimes seem to whisper ancient truths. I have found myself looking at my cat, Luna, and asking, "What are you seeing that I can't see?" You know those moments when they stare into an empty corner of the house as if something invisible were there? It's not just a coincidence. Modern science, with all its logic, is beginning to stumble upon things that mystics have known for centuries, and that's exactly what we are going to unravel together. A mystery that begins with a purr and ends in places that not even quantum physics textbooks dare to explain. Look, before we continue, if you're like me and love decoding what's hidden, subscribe to the channel now and activate notifications. Let's explore this together, because seriously, what I'm going to tell you today isn't just about cats. It's about you, about me, about what connects us to something greater. Are you ready? Then let's go. Think about it with me. Cats have always been revered, right? In ancient Egypt, they were spiritual guardians, almost deities. Bastet, the goddess with the cat's head, wasn't just a cute symbol. She represented protection, power, and a mystery no one dared to challenge. But why? What did those priests see in these animals that, with all our technology, we still ignore? I've read about forbidden experiments, those that occult science kept under lock and key. Like in the Renaissance, alchemists believed that cats were catalysts of vital energy, a sort of walking portal between the physical and the ethereal. They noted in secret diaries that cats could filter invisible forces, almost like a radio tuning into frequencies our eyes can't catch. And then modern science comes along to complicate everything. Have you ever heard of quantum physics? That crazy idea that particles can be in two places at the same time, or that the observer changes reality just by looking? Well, there are some scientists, some pretty out there, ones who suggest that cats have a strange connection with this. You know Schrödinger's famous cat experiment? It's not just a metaphor. Some say Schrödinger chose a cat on purpose because these animals already have one foot in the quantum world. I myself have seen Luna disappear from one room and reappear in another, as if she had folded space. And look, I'm not one to make up stories. Now imagine this. What if a cat's soul were a mirror of our own soul? In esotericism, they say cats are guardians of the threshold, the space between the visible and the invisible. In medieval grimoires, there are reports of magicians who used cats in rituals to see beyond. They believed that the purring, that sound that calms us, was a vibration that aligned the worlds. And look how crazy. Science is starting to prove it. Studies show that a cat's purr has a frequency between 20.5 and 150 hertz, which, believe it or not, is the same used in therapies to heal bones and reduce stress. Coincidence? I don't think so. Let's take it a step further. Think about modern alchemy. Not the one that transforms lead into gold, but the one that transforms consciousness. There are people out there, renegade scientists, who say cats are like spiritual amplifiers. I read about a secret experiment in the 70s at an unnamed university where they tried to measure energetic fields around cats. The equipment went haywire, showing energy spikes that couldn't be explained, as if the cats were pulling something from the ether. Could they be more than just cute little animals? Could they be, I don't know, conductors of a force we've lost the ability to feel? I've felt it firsthand. Once I was meditating, something simple, just breathing deeply, and Luna jumped into my lap. Suddenly, it was as if the air became lighter, as if I could hear a low humming that wasn't there before. Maybe it's just my impression, but I swear I saw a glow in her eyes that wasn't just a reflection of the light. Have you ever felt something like that with your cat? Or do you think I'm traveling too far? Well, let's keep traveling together. You're already deep in the mystery, so hold on. It's going to get even more intriguing. We were talking about how cats seem to carry something beyond what we can see, right? This idea that they are more than just pets, maybe guardians, maybe mirrors of our own souls. But what if I told you that this is not just intuition or mystical talk? There are layers, things that connect spirituality, occult science, and even how we grow as people. Let's dive into it. Think with me. What is the soul anyway? Modern science still struggles to explain it. Some say it's just a bunch of synapses in the brain. Others lean towards the idea of quantum energy that doesn't die, only transforms. But the ancients, those who studied esotericism, had a different view. For them, the soul was like a thread of light, something that dances between the body and the infinite. And cats, well, in mystical traditions, they were seen as weavers of that thread. In Tibet, for example, they believed cats could guide lost souls to the other side. In medieval Europe, the Celts said they were messengers from the underworld, not in a dark sense, but as those who knew the forgotten paths. Now connect this to occult science. Have you ever heard about Wilhelm Reich's experiments? He was a kind of half-crazy, half-genius scientist who, in the 40s, tried to measure what he called orgone, a vital energy he said permeated everything. He was, of course, banned. But before that, he noted something curious. Cats seemed to naturally accumulate orgone. He wrote that near them, his devices detected energy spikes coming from no known source. Were the alchemists right? Could cats be like living batteries capturing something we can't even dream of? And look where this leads us. Personal development. Because if cats have this connection with the invisible, what can they teach us? I've thought about it while watching Luna sleeping under the sun. She doesn't worry, doesn't chase validation. She just is. And then I wonder, what if a cat's soul is a reminder for us to slow down, to listen to what's beyond the noise? In esotericism, the cat is a symbol of independence, of mystery, of one who knows how to suffice. Think about it. How many times have you lost yourself trying to be what others expect when, deep down, your soul is just asking you to exist? Let's bring a historical example to make this more vivid. Back in the 10th century, there was an alchemist named Hina Elsfales. A pompous name, I know. He wrote a secret treatise, Introitus Apertus, where he mentioned cats as children of the ether. According to him, observing a cat was like studying the philosopher's stone in motion, not to make gold, but to understand the transformation of the soul. He said that the way a cat moves, quiet, almost fluid, was the same way spiritual energy circulates in us. I imagine this guy, wig and all, feverishly taking notes, while the world outside burned witches. And bringing it back to today, there's an esoteric mystery I want to tell you about. It's something that came up while I was researching for the video, and it fits perfectly into this conversation. Have you noticed that in many cultures, the cat is linked to the number 9? 9 lives, right? But it goes beyond that. In numerology, 9 is the number of the end and the beginning of total transformation. And in ancient texts like Egyptian papyri, there are strange symbols, like a feline eye within a circle, that appear whenever they talk about soul cycles. I started connecting the dots and thought, what if the 9 lives aren't just a saying? What if they're a code for something bigger? Imagine this. Each life of the cat represents a phase of our own spiritual journey. The first life is curiosity, that spark that makes you ask, who am I? The 9th is awakening, when you finally see the whole. And cats, with that gaze that seems to pierce through time, are there to guide us through these stages. Isn't it beautiful? I get chills just thinking about it. But look, what do you think? Are the 9 lives just a myth? Or is there something there we haven't caught yet? Perfect, you're with me on this. So, let's dive even deeper. We've already talked about how cats seem to carry a mystery that blends occult science, spirituality, and even a touch of modern alchemy. And now that we've planted the idea of 9 lives as a soul map, I want to take you somewhere even stranger, a corner of esotericism that connects all this in a way that might leave you thinking for days. So, take a deep breath and come with me. Think about this. What if cats were more than guides? What if they were, I don't know, witnesses of something we've lost? In Sufi texts from Islamic mysticism, there's a story that really grabbed me. They say that cats were present when the universe was formed, not as creators, but as silent observers. A Sufi poet, Rum, wrote something that stuck in my mind. The cat sleeps in the sunbeam, but its eyes see what the sun hides. I read that and started imagining, What could they be seeing? While we're busy chasing explanations, they stay still, quietly holding a truth that doesn't fit into words. And then the occult science comes in again to mess with us. Have you ever heard of the Stargate Project? It was a CIA operation in the 70s to test extrasensory perception, like remote viewing and stuff. What almost no one knows is that in some declassified reports, there's mention of experiments with animals. And guess who showed up? Cats. A researcher noted that during telepathy sessions, cats seemed to interfere with readings, as if they were picking up the waves before the humans could. The report said a cat named Shadow stared into the void while the medium tried to connect. And suddenly the guy saw flashes of images that made no sense. Bright eyes, a circle of light, a sensation of infinity. Coincidence, or were the cats tuning into something we can't even imagine? Now, bringing this into our lives, I keep thinking about what a cat's soul can teach us about personal development. Because look, if they have this connection to the invisible, maybe they are masters of something we are always seeking. Balance. You know, that way they have of landing on their feet, of adapting to any situation. In esotericism, this is called the gift of transmutation, the ability to transform chaos into harmony. And isn't that exactly what we want? To transform our inner messes into something that makes sense? I've caught myself looking at Luna and thinking, teach me to be like that, will you? Let's bring another story to make this more real. In feudal Japan, there was a Zen monk named Ryokan who lived with a cat named Tama. He wrote poems about how Tama seemed to meditate with him, not just imitating, but guiding him. In one of the poems, he says, "The cat does not seek Buddha because Buddha already purrs in his chest." I imagine this monk, in simple robes, sitting in silence, with Tama, the two breathing in the same rhythm, as if they knew something the rest of the world was still running to understand. Was Tama just a cat, or was he a disguised master? And around this part of our conversation, I want to tell you about an esoteric mystery that naturally arose as we spoke. It's about the symbol of the cat in alchemy. In ancient manuscripts like the Codex Marcianus from the 15th century, there's a drawing that caught my attention. A cat with a tail forming a circle, almost like an Ouroboros, the symbol of the snake eating its own tail, representing eternity. But here, the cat is at the center, with open eyes, as if it were the guardian of this cycle. The alchemists noted that this eternal cat was the key to understanding the soul, not just theirs, but the soul of the universe. They believed that the cat symbolized the fixed point, the center that never changes even while everything else spins around it. And the mystery resolves itself like this. The cat is not just an animal, but a mirror of the eternal within us. The tail in a circle is time, the lives that come and go. But the eyes are the consciousness that never blinks. I get chills just thinking about it. Could it be that every time a cat stares at you, it's reminding you of something you forgot? Like, hey, wake up. You are eternal too. What do you think about that? Have you ever felt like a cat was telling you a secret? Or am I just seeing poetry where there isn't any? Anyway, I'm glad you're still with me. And I love that. We've traveled through so much, from occult science to esoteric mysteries, passing through stories that feel like whispers from the past. Now, I want to take you to the grand finale, closing this loop we started at the beginning. Remember when I asked you, do cats know something we don't? Well, let me tell you what I discovered. And look, it's the kind of thing you share with a friend on a dark night with a cup of coffee in hand. So get cozy, because we're going to tie it all together in a way that will make you look at cats and yourself differently. Think with me one last time. We talked about quantum physics, alchemy, ancient symbols, secret experiments. But what do all these things have in common? The cat. It is always there, in the middle of chaos, like a thread sewing the visible and the invisible. I started putting the pieces together, and guess what I saw? The soul of a cat is not just a mystery. It's a key to understanding what we are doing here, on this planet spinning through space, trying to make sense of things. And I'm not the only one who thinks this way. In the texts of the Kabbalah, for example, the cat appears as a comer, a guardian who protects the secrets of creation. They say cats don't judge, they don't question, they just observe. And in observing, they hold a piece of the truth. Now remember the eternal cat I mentioned, with the tail forming a circle? Well, I dug deeper and found a connection that left me speechless. In the Hermetic tradition, which blends alchemy and esotericism, the circle is the symbol of totality, the unus mundus, the one world. And the cat at the center is like a reminder that we, too, are part of this whole. Modern science is getting close to this with the idea of quantum entanglement, that everything is connected, even when it seems far apart. And what if cats, with their way of seeming to be in two places at once, were living proof of this? I imagine Luna lying on the couch, yet somehow connected to something much greater, and pulling me along too. And look how this connects to personal development. If a cat's soul is a mirror, as I said earlier, then it reflects what we have that's most pure. You know that moment when you look at your cat and feel an unexplained peace. It's not just cuteness. It's like they are telling you, relax. You already have everything you need inside you. I've had bad days, the kind where your mind won't stop, and Luna just lays next to me, purring, as if pulling me back to center. Maybe that's what the mystics meant when they said the cat guides the soul, not to another world, but into yourself. Let's bring one last story to close this perfectly. I read about a woman named Hildegard of Bingen, a mystic from the 11th century. She was a visionary, wrote music with divine inspiration, and had a cat. In her writings, she said the cat was her earthly mirror. In one vision, she saw a golden feline walking among the stars and wrote, "He showed me that the light never goes out. It only hides." I imagine her with her cat nestled in her lap, seeing things we only dream of understanding. And maybe she's right. Maybe cats are disguised light, showing us the way back home. So here's the revelation, like I'm whispering a secret in your ear. The soul of a cat is what connects us to the mystery of the universe. It's not just about them, it's about us. They purr, observe, cross through time, and deep down, they're telling us, you are like this too. You are eternal. Now you understand why this changes everything, right? Every glance, every silent leap is an invitation to remember who you really are. But I'll leave you with an open question. What if cats aren't the only guardians? What do you think comes next in this cosmic dance? Tell me later. Now, I want to close this with something that will leave you thinking, something that ties together everything we discussed about the cat's soul and gives you that good shiver of someone who just discovered a secret hidden in plain sight. So grab a coffee, or just throw yourself on the couch, and let's finish this conversation like old friends swapping confidences. We talked about how cats are always one step ahead, right? As if they know something we're running to understand. I told you about the eternal cat, about lives like a map of the soul, about experiments the CIA tried to hide. But there's one thing I saved for now, an idea that came to me while putting all of this together. Think with me. What if a cat's soul was more than a guide or a mirror? What if it was a fragment of the universe itself looking at us, like a little piece of infinity that decided to purr and rub against our legs? I know it sounds crazy, but let me explain. In the Vedas, those ancient Indian texts, there's an idea called Atman, the individual soul that, deep down, is part of Brahman, the cosmic whole. And guess what? In some lesser-known traditions, cats were seen as Atman in motion, not as gods, but as pieces of universal consciousness that chose a simple form to accompany us. I imagine that while I see Luna playing with a ball of yarn, is she just being cute, or is she showing me that the universe knows how to play too, and occult science doesn't fall behind? There's a guy, a researcher named Rupert Sheldrake, who talks about morphic fields, a kind of collective memory that connects everything. He conducted experiments with animals, and guess what? Cats appear again. He noticed they seem to feel things before they happen, like when their owner is coming home even from miles away. Sheldrake suggests that cats are connected to an invisible field, something that goes beyond time and space. And what if this field is the same as what mystics call the ether, or what alchemists searched for in the Philosopher's Stone? I get chills just thinking that maybe every time Luna stares at me, she's connecting me to something greater. Bringing this to our daily lives changes everything. Because if cats are fragments of the universe, then looking at them is like looking at ourselves, without the weight of our neuroses. You know that moment when you're lost, wondering what the meaning of it all is, and your cat jumps onto your lap, and suddenly the world feels lighter. It's not magic, but it's almost. In esotericism, they say cats cleanse energy, not just of the house, but ours too. I've felt it with Luna. After a heavy day, she lies near me, and it's like she takes away a piece of the chaos I was carrying. There's one last story I want to tell to close this loop in style. In the 1920s, there was an occultist named Dion Fortune who wrote about cats as living oracles. She said that during a meditation session, her black cat, Merlin, stood in front of her, and suddenly, she saw a symbol in her mind, a triangle with a feline eye at the center. Later, she researched it and found out this symbol appeared in Egyptian temples, linked to the idea of eternal vision. Dion wrote that Merlin not only saw the symbol with her, but brought it to her, as if it were a gift. I imagine this woman, with her cat by her side, unraveling the universe in a room full of dusty books. So here's the closing of our loop. The soul of a cat is an echo of the infinite, and they are here to remind us that we, too, are part of that. At the beginning, I asked you if cats knew something we didn't. Now I'm telling you, they do, and they're trying to tell us. With every purr, every glance, the revelation is this: you're not just looking at your cat, you're looking at the mystery that lives within you. And now, what do you think comes next? Could the next clue be waiting in those bright eyes? If you made it this far with me, leave it in the comments. I have a guardian cat. Or tell me if you've ever felt this mystery in your life. I want to know what you think. Like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And if you want to dive even deeper into these secrets,